Welcome to another episode of Southern Home Talk. I'm Chuck Phillip with South Alabama Home Inspections, and what we're going to talk about is the proper encapsulation of a crawl space. And you can see here where foam insulation has been used to seal up the foundation vents, and you can see that vent there is nearing or at grade level. And what happens is when they get that to that level, they can create moisture problems inside the crawl space by rainwater moving inside of it. This is the condensate line here, the smaller one for the dehumidifier inside the crawl space. It's been cut a little bit shorter so that when you're on the outside you can see that it's creating moisture on the ground there. So you can tell the difference between the condensate line for the AC and for the dehumidifier. Alright, we'll move inside the crawl space now. This here is a mini split system, which these can also be used to mitigate humidity inside the crawl space, but this has been used for the inside. And that's a tree that came down from a few days ago during a storm. And as luck would have it, there is a full-size door to enter the crawl space. Usually it's just a small opening, maybe even about the size of that. And that's why they call them crawl spaces, because you have to crawl inside. So come in here and open it up. It's got lights. It's got a carpet floor. And the good thing about the carpet flooring is it protects the vinyl floor below from walking on it. And it looks like they put a very good heavy-duty vinyl floor in here, which is to me the thing to do, because you can get away with some of the thinner plastics, but they're not going to last as long, and they're probably going to tear if you walk on them. And this here is a Frigidaire 70 pint dehumidifier, and it's inside of roughly around a 1,500 square foot crawl space, and it's doing a fairly good job of keeping it climate controlled and the humidity down below 60%. The more important thing of all is this right here. This is a wireless monitor for the crawl space. This monitors both the temperature and humidity. And the base station's inside the house. So you can monitor what that is from inside the house without having to come down here. And these monitors become more important after encapsulation versus before, because now that it's sealed up and you have vinyl floors, if you have a busted pipe, you can have a big flooding problem down here and not know about it. So this can kind of alarm you to that. Other things that have to be taken in consideration is the plumbing. This is the supply lines here, but both hot and cold sides should be insulated to prevent condensation from dripping down onto the floor below. And also the drain pipe should be insulated as well. Another big no-no that you would never do in a vented crawl space is storing cardboard or any kind of paper products, because mold loves paper. It loves paper products, and that's why you don't want to put paperback fiberglass insulation in the subflooring, because it will feed on that as well. Another bad thing about fiberglass bad insulation, even without the paper, is eventually moisture can make its way through the fibers and be held back against the subflooring. Another bad thing about fiberglass bad insulation is mice and rats will use that to make nests with. I've found them in crawl spaces, so it is not the right product to use. What you're looking at here is closed cell spray foam, and this is a really good product. It's working as two purposes right now. It's acting as a vapor barrier or secondary vapor barrier, and it's also adding insulation to the subflooring. So now that this thing is pretty much properly encapsulated, you can also put a smoke detector down here, which you ordinarily wouldn't be able to do that in high humid conditions. And so now this place can be used for storage. The main thing I want to express more than anything is if you have a vented crawl space in Alabama, especially South Alabama, it should be encapsulated, period. And I highly recommend that you contact a qualified crawl space company that can do a proper encapsulation. If you don't hire someone qualified, what can happen, and what I find most often, is they've been somewhat encapsulated but not done correctly, and they still have big problems, and sometimes it makes it even worse. So now the other contractor has to come in and correct their problems, which costs more money, and in order for them to do their job correctly. So be sure to hire a very qualified crawl space encapsulation company to have your encapsulation done. And it's just one other thing I noted when I came in here, and it's right here on the wall. You'll see this white here, and that's called efflorescence. And some people think this is mold because there's white mold, but it's not. It's efflorescence, and that's caused from long-term moisture residing within the block or brickwork, and the salts and minerals start wicking to the surface there. And so that's what that is. This is probably done prior to the encapsulation. As well as like all this subflooring here. This was all very nasty at one point. It had a lot of fungus, mold. It's all kind of sort of the same family, but all that had to be taken care of before the encapsulation process could occur. And one of the better products to use for that is a product called Concrobium. It can be found at Lowe's and Home Depot, and the way you would apply this is with a wet fogger, and you'd have to heavily wet fog the crawl space, and then add maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 dehumidifiers, because the way the product works is by the rapid dehumidification, and that when it dehumidifies or dries quickly, that's what kills the mold. But as soon as that's done, the encapsulation process should begin, because you don't want the mold to grow back before that gets done. So there's a certain protocol that has to be followed when you encapsulate a crawl space. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Chuck Phillip with South Alabama Home Inspections. If you need any kind of specific inspection, even a home inspection, we do attic inspections, crawl space inspections, moisture inspections. We install wireless humidity systems. Please give us a call at 251-490-9892, and thanks for watching.